Hi everyone, welcome to the November garden tour. This is a little bit of a different garden tour as we have had tons of wind lately. We were gone last week, the Mandarin Festival, and I just wanted to walk around and show you all the wind damage we had. The garden is really toasted. So let's first start up here. The craziest thing I first noticed when we got home is the flagpole. Let me grab the flag over here so you guys can see what happened to this pole. We usually keep the flag stuck in the holder like this. The wind completely bent the pole, broke off the flag, and I found it around the corner here. So you can tell what crazy wind gust it is. I want to say it was maybe, I don't know, 50 miles an hour. It's pretty crazy. But when I looked out the window, another thing I noticed first off the bat is my trellises completely fell over in the wind. So it's pretty crazy. These were still swaying in the wind here, the scarlet runner beans, and these dried up pods, the beans actually blew out of the pods. I could not believe it. So we've got a whole bunch of scarlet runner beans right down here along the house. So pretty darn crazy. I guess that's one way to save seeds. Now, the thing that's kind of nuts is I was kind of getting ready to take these plants out, but they still looked pretty good. But now the wind has completely dried up all the leaves and they are toast. So as soon as the wind calms down, we're going to be pulling all the runner beans out and trying to get the trellises back into place. Well, come on down with me. There's a lot more damage on down the steps. Come on, Mac, let's go check it out. Mac's actually been kind of fighting how to get down the stairs. It's been kind of crazy. Oh my gosh. Sorry about that, Jerry.
Right.
It's falling over on camera, guy. All right. What? Ooh. So the herb garden, pretty battered, but I think it'll be okay. Trimming it up, it'll probably come back. This trellis here with the runner beans, these all have to come out. We're gonna have to completely replant the hanging baskets. The wind, everything got perfectly well watered, but we had high heat and the wind just really dries out the leaves, and you can see they're just toast. So this other archway here completely blew over. During the summer, I had tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, and zinnias, which were still actually looking pretty good. But it's all coming out now, and we'll be reinforcing the arches here. I want to plant some peas, but the wind has just been crazy this year, and it's supposed to be a lot worse before it lets up. So Mac's actually been squeezing his way into the arch here. Come on, Mac. Let's see if we can't get down the steps. I think I'm actually going to have to climb over this way through this other garden bed here. Come here, Mac. Come on, buddy. Mac takes it all in stride, but I can't fit under that way, so I've actually been climbing over this way here. It's pretty crazy, guys. We've actually had notices of possible power outages because of possible fires. So tomorrow is Thanksgiving, so hopefully we won't have a power outage on Thanksgiving in the middle of cooking the turkey. So basically the only one of the ladder mesh trellises that survived the windstorm was the one that has nothing growing on it because it didn't get heavy enough to blow it over. But let's head on down the stairs here and I'll show you an arch that stayed up really well and some cool stuff growing on it. As opposed to the ladder mesh trellises, this arch did not budge an inch, and I am absolutely loving the passion fruit. Actually was out here this morning and accidentally stepped on one of these little babies that fell off. This is purple passion fruit, and you actually know they're ripe when they just fall right off the vine. So this one fell on the ground. It kind of cracked open a little bit, but I'll bring it in the house, let it shrivel up a little bit, and then we can eat it. So loving the passion fruit. We've probably got about 15 or 20 here. And this vine is growing like crazy. Look at all these beautiful passion fruit. So pretty excited about that. They haven't taken any wind damage, so they're looking really good. But the zinnias are definitely gonna need to be pulled out. Lots of powdery mildew. All the warm weather crops are kind of toasted in this wind. So my plan is this weekend, hopefully the wind will calm down and we'll be able to pull a lot of the toasted plants out and maybe get some new things planted. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. And before I forget, you guys, happy Thanksgiving. We're so thankful for all you guys. We've met a lot of new people up at the Mandarin Festival. It was really fun. And I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving with your families. Do make sure you head over to my seed shop. Black Friday sale is 30% off with the code HOLIDAY. and that goes all weekend long off all my seed collection, smart pots, books. So make sure you're shopping for Christmas. All right, let's head on down here to the smart pots deck. And I actually had some of my fall crops shaded because it got up to about 85 degrees. So as soon as I got these planted, the heat shot up, shaded them, and I haven't even taken off this cover to see how they look, but I think they probably survived the windstorm pretty well. Oh, they look pretty good. I don't think the squirrels got to them. And hopefully looks like the shade cloth is doing its job. A few little toasted leaves, but not too bad. This is broccoli and what did I plant here? Cabbage. Ooh, these ones got toasted. So we may have to go for a third round of the cool weather vegetables, but that's just the way the weather's been, so wonky, so up and down. I gotta show you guys something over here. Pretty cool. Remember a couple months ago, Jerry and I pulled out all the scarlet runner beans and planted some peas. The strangest weather is going on, hot, cold, and windy. We've got brand new scarlet runner beans growing where the seeds dropped. So the hot weather helps those grow. But the crazy thing is right down here are some cool weather vegetables, peas, growing right next to them. So it's kind of one of those in-between things. So I don't know which one is going to survive the longest, the beans or the peas. So let me know what you guys think, how these are going to do. Now the wind dries out the leaves so badly. This is a tomato that I'm hoping to overwinter. And you can just see here how dry the leaves are. It's pretty darn crazy. It hasn't even been that cold at night, so I don't think it's cold damage. But would you look at that? It just really, really fries the leaves here. So this should be okay though. I'm gonna trim it up and should be just fine. But the biggest problem we've had in this container here has been the squirrels digging in the container. You might have seen my post on Instagram a couple of weeks ago. I've been using the Repels All, which is like a garlic clove, a granule that I've been sprinkling around. And then I've been trying something new to me. It's this hot pepper spray. So it really seems to be helping. Been spraying the soil, you can spray it right on the leaves, and it really has a spicy smell here, and which makes the animals' eyes water and go away. So pretty darn cool, and this is by Bonide, so it's been working pretty well. We'll be trimming up this tomato, and hopefully it will be surviving the wind. Now something over here I wanted to show you that's kind of exciting is some oranges. I think we've got 4, 5, 6, maybe 6 or 8 oranges here on this tree, so that's pretty exciting. They usually ripen up a little sooner in the season, but everything seems like it's a little bit off this year. So we'll keep an eye on those and bring you along. Oh, there's a little flower too, which means we'll have, I think actually that's a zinnia from growing up from below, so not an orange flower. But the cool thing is the nasturtiums are already starting to pop up again. I don't really know how because they don't really like the warm weather we've been having, but evidently they're doing just fine. Got nasturtiums popping up all over the garden. They're not going to survive a frost, so hopefully we won't get a frost, but they are really enjoying the spot here where it gets a lot of shade in the wintertime. And these trees here, you can see they're just swaying back and forth in the wind. We actually decided not to trim them back because we're going to lose a lot of the leaves off here, and that way it doesn't thin things out too much. But the garden is just kind of in one of those toss-up kind of doesn't quite know what to do kind of seasons because there's still a ton of eggplant here. So it's kind of been a really strange year. We're still harvesting eggplant. This is Black Beauty eggplant. You can see it's still heavy from the fruit. There's 4 or 5 eggplant on here, looking absolutely beautiful. And more blossoms coming on. So you never know if the weather holds. We could be harvesting eggplant well into December, which I think is definitely a record for us here in Southern California. Now these zinnias are definitely looking a mess. They are not liking the wind. They are not liking the weather at night that we've had. Just completely getting dried out here on the bottom branches. These are called white profusion zinnias. They're a really nice edging zinnia. But what I do when they get really dry like this is you can see all the seeds that they're dropping here. These are all zinnia seeds. So what I like to do is just grab the seeds and sprinkle them right back into the soil. And that way they reseed again next year. And then I'll also collect some in a little plastic bag and save them for next year as well. But just kind of makes it easy. Let your seeds dry right in the garden, put them in the soil, and you've got new seeds popping up. So the peppers in here are kind of toast. They're not like in the nights in the 40s and 50s. So we definitely have a lot of replanting that we need to do. And along with the wind, it just kind of speeds the whole process up. This pepper plant here though is doing amazing. This is a jalapeno pepper, and you can tell there's just leaves everywhere. But the branches and the leaves are still looking really good. There's tons of jalapenos on here. We've harvested so many jalapenos, more little babies coming on. So I really think this plant will overwinter. And if you want to know how to overwinter your peppers, go back and watch that video. You can overwinter them outside in southern climates or indoors in northern climates. So along the edge here is the sugar rush peach pepper. So these do need harvested. I'm letting some kind of dry up for the seeds, but I'd really like to harvest these for some hot pepper jelly. These are super, super hot. They've been growing here since summertime. So I think I'm gonna try and make some of those for Christmas gifts. Now here in the smart pots on the ground, guys, I've really been struggling with my cool season plants, cool season vegetables this winter time because of the weather and the squirrels. I planted these, I wanna say 2 weeks ago, covered them up because of the heat and because of the squirrels. And yeah, the heat is really doing these babies in. I think we had several days in the 90s, in the 80s. So once again, I think we'll be going for a third round of cool weather vegetables. So we'll definitely be starting some more seeds. I believe these are collards. So not looking too good. So like I said, it's a different type of a garden tour, but you know what? We gotta keep it real. Not everything goes well in the garden. And sometimes weather happens, things happen. Plants die. It's just part of the way things go. These are some more broccoli and collard greens, just getting toasted here in the wind. Look at all those broken branches here. So yeah, kale, not looking real good. Check out the kohlrabi. Let's look at the kohlrabi here. Actually, this is faring pretty well. A little bit of yellowing leaves, but not too much wind damage, so the kohlrabi might survive. I've got some kohlrabi over here in these smart pots. This is purple kohlrabi. I really like the combination with the purple smart pots. It's actually looking pretty good, so this is exciting. Don't have much wind damage. Looks like the squirrels haven't gotten to it, the heat didn't get to it. I think the kohlrabi is gonna survive. It's looking pretty good. And in case you don't know what kohlrabi is, it's kind of a bulb type of vegetable. The bulb grows above the ground. This is purple, and it kind of has little spiny things that come out. It tastes like a broccoli stem. It's delicious, and I've got seeds for that in my fall garden seed collection. You gotta grow it. It's a really fun, unique vegetable. Now, next to the kohlrabi, I've got some mums. I did a video a few weeks ago on pruning back your fall mums so that they keep on blooming. So if you have mums, don't throw them away or pull them out once they stop blooming. Cut them off. Make them like a little mound again if they get tall and spindly. I did that a couple of weeks ago, and look, there's some brand new blooms coming out. Mums are perennials, and some of mine I've grown for several years. They're absolutely beautiful flowers. Once these rebloom again, I'll show you what they look like. They come in all sorts of different colors. I think these are a white one. So you're gonna love growing your mums too. So now let's go over here to the red planter area, and this is where things are looking really, really toasted. Remember the beautiful lily-put zinnias from the summertime? I swear it was maybe a week or so ago. These looked great, completely toasted out by the wind. These are coming out for sure. Tomato plant, and I think a tomatillo and a cucumber plant were in here. And man, that wind is so drying. These babies are ready to come out. Oddly enough though, here we go again, the nasturtiums. I'm so surprised at how that they have just sprung to life over the past couple of weeks. It's like the wind hasn't even phased them. It's crazy. These blooms are popping out, and look at the size of these leaves. It's crazy. If you've never grown nasturtiums, you have got to. Every single part of the plant is edible. The leaves are great for salads. They're very peppery. The flowers are edible. They're beautiful to top salads with. And once they go to seed, they drop seeds everywhere. These I probably planted several years ago, and they pop back to life every single year. If you want an easy to grow flower, but not frost tolerant, but cool weather, this is the one for you. There's some in my Bring on the Pollinators cool season. I think they're in my fall garden seed collection too. Man, these are good. Super, super zippy and delicious. This pot is just a mess, you guys. Leaves everywhere, but the biggest thing is, see how those are all nibbled off? These are carrots. They were carrots. Squirrels, squirrels, squirrels. All these nibbled off carrot tops are squirrels. The squirrels have been digging in here, you can tell, all these digging areas, and just chowing things down. So I gotta spray this with that hot pepper wax spray as well. We are battling the squirrels like crazy. So if you got any more tips, let me know. Let me come on over here, and I want to talk about a tip that a viewer did give me for the squirrels. A few times Jerry and I have looked out, and the squirrels have been in our bird feeder. A couple really chubby ones just sitting right up here, and in fact the wind has just blown all of our bird seed out. But they like to sit up in here and they compete with the birds for the seeds. Now, someone told me to put an upside down, what are those called? The funnels or the little traffic cones to protect the squirrels from climbing up the poles. So I thought that was a really good idea. I'd like to try that. So let me know if you've tried it, if you have any other ideas for keeping the squirrels out of your bird feeders. Come on in here, you guys. I have to show you this sage plant. I actually picked a whole bunch of sage off this morning, and I'm stuffing it under the skin of my Thanksgiving turkey, mixing it with butter. I cannot tell you guys how amazing this sage smells. Just breathing in like heaven here. But someone asked me how old this plant was. This plant has been in here, I want to say, for 8 or 9 years. It's crazy. Every single year I cut it off. Sage is a perennial, so you can do this with sage. I cut it off right to about here. Once it starts to get kind of overgrown a little bit, which it kind of is now, but once the leaves start to kind of turn brown, I cut it off to where you would never think it would come back. It always comes back bigger and better. The leaves look fresher. And if you want a super hardy herb to grow in your garden, you gotta grow sage. You can tell it's not even fazed by the wind, it's not fazed by the heat, it's not fazed by the cold. It just keeps on going. Now, a lot of you northern gardeners might be completely putting your garden beds to rest for the winter time right about now. But for us southern gardeners, we can tear out some of the old summer plants and replace it with cool weather vegetables, which is exactly what I plan to do right here. All the tomatoes, zinnias, all these warm plants, warm season plants are going to be coming out. Just going to leave the trellises in and plant some other things like peas to be perfect in the winter time. So for your southern gardeners, now is a great time to grow those cool weather veggies. Don't stop growing. The Fall Garden series has all the info you need, and grow along with me this winter. Good boy. Here's another herb that I'm using in my Thanksgiving dinner. This is rosemary. This is actually a huge rosemary shrub. It started out as a teeny tiny little plant, I want to say 9 or 10 years ago. This is another one that grows like crazy. I cut it off every year. I kind of try and shape it up a little bit. But you can tell there's no lack of rosemary in our house. Share it with anybody who wants it. So if you guys want some, come on over and get it. This is also being chopped up with the sage and seasoning my Thanksgiving turkey, and it smells absolutely incredible. I could just smell this all day long. Well, tomorrow on Thanksgiving, it's supposed to be the windiest day ever. We were planning on eating outside, but I think those plans will probably change. It's supposed to be warm, probably 80 or 85 degrees. And I just want to tell you guys, happy Thanksgiving. So thankful for you all that you're part of our lives, part of our garden, and part of our family, really. So thank you so much for coming along with me on the November garden tour. Really appreciate you guys, and please take advantage of the Black Friday sale. My gift to you, 30% discount. Get your Christmas gifts and we'll get them shipped out to you for Christmas with the code HOLIDAY over at CaliKimGardenHome.com. Thanks so much for watching. See you later on the next video. Bye-bye.